recording. Stacy, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I was kept getting an error message and it wouldn't let me sign in.
All right, so we are on page. I don't know what page we're on. We're talking about sharps and flats on page 19, I think.
Okay.
So the sharp sign comes before the note head on the staff, but it comes after the letter name. Same for the flats. The flat sign is going to come before the note head on the staff, but it's going to come after the note name. We also have what is called a natural sign. And the natural sign cancels out our sharp or our flat sign. So if we have a B flat and then we don't want a B flat anymore, they're going to put a natural sign. And then we know just to play it normal, not flatted. Okay? That was one question that came up yesterday. And feel free to send me a private message in the chat or a public message. I don't care. If there's things you want me to go over today that you need a little more clarification on or you're not quite sure about, and I'll address all these things as we go today. Another question that came up is, what's the difference between a half step and a whole step? A half step is from one note to the very next note. One note to the very next note. A whole step is from one note to another note with a note in between. One note to another note with a note in between. So, half steps can be white to black. Half steps can be black to white. And half steps can be white to white, two places. B to C and E to F. You can have two white to white half steps. Half steps cannot be black to black. There's always a white note in between all of our black keys. So half steps cannot be black to black. Whole steps can be white to white. Whole steps can be black to black. Whole steps can be black to white. And whole steps can be white to black. So every color combination can result in a whole step. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns? Can I clear my screen? Did you get your screenshot?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to clear everything I've written. We got it, Stacy? Give me a thumbs up. All right. Another thing that came up, I think, that people were confused about was note names. We're pretty good with our white key chant, but when it comes to black keys, is it an F sharp? Is it a C sharp? Is it a G flat? Is it a D flat? So I have all kinds of names. At church, I'm Brother Bascom. At home, I'm Hey Sexy or Hey Stupid Head. At school, I'm Dr. Bascom. So depending upon where I'm at is what people are going to call me. So if we uh-oh. Can you hear me still? My mic's wigging out a little bit. Okay. So if we're using a sharp key, it's going to be C sharp. C sharp to the next key to the right. If we are using a flat key, it's going to be the next key to the left. So this note could be called C sharp or D flat. It just all depends about context. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. So this is nice because it shows you what every single black key could be called. I don't know why they skipped these, but they did them here. This note could be called B sharp or C. This note could be called F flat or E. So this page is great because it shows you what every note potentially could be called for our purposes in this class. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. Can I clear my screen? I just drew circles. That's all I drew. Nothing groundbreaking. All right. On we go. I want to show you this page because there's going to be an assignment due in Canvas. We talked about this a little bit in the past. So C, up a whole step, and we get what note?
E.
D. D up a whole step, and we get
E.
E. So in Canvas, under assignments, there's going to be something called homework, page 20. And that is this page right here. Rather than having you all do them in your book and taking pictures of them and uploading them to Canvas and all that fun stuff, I made a quiz for you to do. So let me show you that real quick. I'm going to view it as a student. Just thinking about it. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So there's an assignment, and it is called Whole Step Patterns, page 20. It's just a quiz. It's a copy of the book, and you can take it as many times as you want. So take it until you get it 100%. Use a lowercase b for the flat sign and the number sign for the sharp sign. So after C, we said comes D. After D, we said comes E. So you're going to fill that out for all of these blanks. Easy peasy. We're good on that? Yep. So I'll throw a due date on that for sometime next week. All right. So I'm going to make that due next Thursday. Is that all right? So go ahead and get that done. All right. Questions back in the book. We're doing all right. Kind of taking a nice, easy review today. Let's talk about the staff. The staff is made up of 5 lines, 4 spaces. We talked about our 7 home notes. Who remembers our 7 home notes?
Low C, middle
Low
C,
C, middle C,
high C,
high C,
G clef G,
G clef G,
F clef F,
F clef F.
bottom space A,
Good.
top space E.
Good. Does everyone have those 7 home notes memorized?
Still working on it.
All right. On Canvas, there's 2 handouts you can print out that has your home notes on them.
Got it.
I'm going to draw over the top of my page 22 just to show you them on this where they fall. So low C is here, 2 lines below the staff. High C is here, 2 lines above the staff. Middle C is here in between the staff. I don't like the way they've drawn this because they only show middle C in the treble clef. But you could also have middle C right here in the bass clef. Okay? So just know that you have middle C both in the treble clef played with the right hand and middle C in the bass clef played with the left hand. Both hands are going to be playing middle C. All right, then we have G clef G here and F clef F here. We have top space E here and bottom space A here. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to clear those. I'm going to circle them like this in red to show you all 7 home notes. And then I'm going to get a different color out. And show you why I have home notes. So low C is actually responsible for 2 notes below and 1 note below. So the B and the A. And 1 note above and a step above a D and a skip above an E. Bottom space A is responsible for a step below and a skip below and a skip above and a step above and a skip above. F clef F is responsible for a step below, skip below, step above, skip above. Now there's going to be a little bit of overlap here. Don't let it throw you. Middle C is responsible for a step below and a skip below, a step above and a skip above. G clef G is responsible for a skip below and a step below, a step above, a skip above. So every note on my staff is either a step or skip away from one of my 7 home notes. So you can use my 7 home notes as a reference to find any note on the staff. Does that make sense? That's why I have home notes. Because I don't know, 3 lines above, I don't know what that is. I ran out at every good boy deserves fudge. Oh, fudge, what am I going to do now? But my high C, I know is 2 lines above. C, skip up, I get an E. I know it like that. So that's why I do the 7 home notes. So if you can memorize the 7 home notes in red, low C, bottom space A, F clef F, middle C, G clef G, top space E, and high C, I can use those 7 as references. They're kind of like rest stops along our highway of notes here. So if I put my thumbs on middle C and I go out 5 notes, I get G. If I go down 5 notes, I get F. If I slide my thumbs under and I go out 5 more, I'm going to get top space E and bottom space A. If I slide my thumbs under again and go out 5 notes, I'm going to get high C, low C. So I can find all my home notes on the keyboard. Counting middle C is 1, going out 5, and then slipping under, going out 5, and then slipping under, going out 5. That's why there's a little bit of overlap right here, because I use middle C in both hands and count it as 1. And then from then on, I don't count this home note as 1. I slip my thumb under and count the next note as 1. And go out 5. I used to teach it go out 5, go out 6, go out 6, but it was more confusing. And one of my students said, "Why don't you just do this?" And I'm like, that's brilliant. I learned from you. You should be teaching this class. Questions on the home notes? No one has hit me up in the chat with anything they want me to go over. We're doing all right? Explain it. Butcher it. It's okay. Just say that one thingy with the one thingy. All right, I'm going to take a screenshot because I've never done this before and I really like the way it looks. Okay. Can I clear my screen and go on?
Yes.
I have a question. I was trying to type it, but I
Go ahead.
couldn't get to it fast enough. Okay, when you go from middle C going up, right? What is that? Low. That's high, right?
The further we go to the right, the higher our pitch becomes.
Kids.
You're
Okay,
right.
so that's going up high. That you land on G, but
Yeah.
from G going up 5, you land on. You said C.
No, if you slip,
Okay, it's going to be E, right?
yeah, if you slip your
Okay.
pinky under, let me just number the keys right here so you can see it visually.
Okay.
If I put my thumb on A, my 2 on B, my 3 on C, my 4 on D, my pinky ends up on
E.
top space E, my home note. Yep. And then if I slip my thumb under again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I end up on high C.
Okay, because at first it sounded like you said you count the C as 1.
I count my
but
middle
then
C as 1. I count my middle C as
Your
1.
middle C as 1, but then in other cases, it doesn't seem like you count the last note as
Nope,
1.
you don't.
That's where the confusion, only with middle C.
Only with middle C. The
Okay.
rest you slip your thumb under to the next note. Good question.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
question.
Because that's what was confusing me, because I'm like, wait a minute, that seems like 4 instead of 5. Okay, got it now.
Oops. So let me draw this in for the left hand so you can see it that way too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put my left hand pinky on F clef F. Slip my thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get my bottom space A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get my low C. So there is every finger number written on the staff to get you where you need to be. Find those home notes. Does that make sense? All right. Can I clear my screen now? Other questions? Either in the chat or on your mic? Okay. A couple times ago we did conducting, and I don't think there's any questions on that, but I'm happy to entertain if there are. 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4. And we'll go over that again a little bit more. All right, next is page 23. Now this is another easy quiz on Canvas. You just have to tell me what all these notes are. And that is not my pencil. Zoop. We're just writing in what all these notes are. Like this is middle C, this is G clef G, this is F clef F, this is middle C. So you're going to do that in a quiz format on Canvas. Questions on that? This is also a good page to do if you need a little more exercise little more practice on reading on the staff. So it's nice because we start on middle C, step up, same note, step down. Here we start on G clef G, step up, skip down. I like to mark my skips with X's. So if that's something that's helpful to see that it's a skip. Now, what's a skip? Some of you might be wondering, what is a skip? A line to a line is a skip. A space to a space is a skip. A line to the next space is a step. A step to the next space is a step. Did I say that right? I don't think I said that right. Let me say that again. A space to a line to a space is a step. A space to a line is a step. As long as they are the very next one.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's kind of dumb though.
I love dumb questions.
Is a whole step or a half step on the keyboard the same as a skip on the drum set?
That is not a dumb question. That is a very excellent question and has caused many of my students confusion for years. The answer is, it depends. And so what I want you to not do is I want you to not think whole step and half step when you're looking at the staff, because it depends on where we are. If we have, I'm trying to find it for you. If right here we have a step because we have a space to a line. On our piano, it just so happens that that is an E going to an F. So in this particular situation, it is a half step. But right here, we have a step on our staff. And it's a D going to an E. And we have a skip. We have a note in between. So here it's a whole step. But here it's a half step. So you can't say that a step on our staff is necessarily a half step or a whole step. It's all going to depend where you are on the keyboard. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
I know that was kind of a lot. The same can be said for skips. When we have skips on our, they're going to be thirds. Sometimes they're going to be minor thirds. Sometimes they're going to be major thirds. Hitting back to our ear training class that we had, Vianda. So they're going to be more than whole steps. So it depends. So I don't want you to mix the two up. So when you're looking at the staff, I want you to say steps or skips. When you're looking at the keyboard, I want you to say half steps or whole steps, but they are not necessarily interchangeable. Great question.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Can I clear my screen?
Yep.
All right, so I will assign this on Canvas coming up. That's a really easy assignment. It's like 8 points. Name your notes, and you can do it as many times as you need. So if you miss a couple questions, you can redo it.
So C to B flat would be a step.
C to B flat. Now I'm going to do it both ways for you to make sure that you know that we're on the same page. So on my staff, C to B flat. Oh, come on. Give me my pencil. C to B flat. It's a step on my staff, but on my piano, Here's my C. Here's my B. Here's my B flat. It's a whole step. So that's why I don't want you to get confused. It's just a step on my staff, but it's a whole step on my keyboard because there's a note in between. You with me? So yes, it's a step on the staff. Yes, it's a whole step on the piano. Good question. Other questions? Somewhere we lost Stacy. Perhaps she's having...
I'm here. I'm just.
There you are.
I'm going to tutoring after this.
Okay.
Because for me, it's hard because, like, when I look at, okay, first we did the music on 18. There's no, what do they call it? The staff where there's no lines.
Right.
So, and the letters were written on there, so that made
Yep.
it easy. Now, when you get to the stuff, I feel like I don't know enough about what these squiggly, like backwards S, C, I don't know enough about what all that means. So I'm just gonna probably bug the tutor because I may be the only one in there. Doesn't matter to me, but I'm gonna go to that as soon as class is over. So
Okay, so looking here at 122, what's confusing about this?
What's confusing?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't automatically know that the 4/4 is what, 4 beats, 4 counts or whatever. I know it because it was said.
Yeah.
But when I look at that, otherwise, I don't understand what that is. The squiggly S, it looks
Yes.
like a backward cursive S. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
And so I'm a total new person to reading piano music and all of that. So
good. Okay, so that squiggly S is called the treble clef.
The treble clef.
And this we went over in our book on page 21.
Okay.
And if you look here, Stacy, the treble clef is also called G clef. And originally, it was a G. It was a G that looked like that. And there's several of mutations and morphs through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's morphed into this.
Okay.
And if you see, that it kind of makes a G that curls around the G line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like to call it G clef G.
G clef G. Okay.
But it's also called treble clef. And what that means is most of the notes in the treble clef are going to be played with your right hand.
Okay.
Now, if we were at church, Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
most of the ladies would be singing the notes in the treble clef. There's a few sisters that have a low voice that want to be tenors, and they sing the bass notes. We're not going to talk about them today.
Uh-huh.
Most of the ladies are singing the high notes in the treble clef, and they're either an alto or soprano. The soprano is the high-voiced ladies who can really belt it out and nail it, and the altos are a little bit lower, and they sing the harmony with the sopranos.
Okay.
So that's what's going on in the treble clef. Now the bass clef used to be called F clef, and originally it was an F right here.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, there's been several morphs and mutations, and it now has morphed into this.
Okay.
Which is the bass clef, but it's also called F clef, and that's why I call that home note F clef F.
Okay.
And this dot right here is on the F line, and this dot right here is above the F line, and this dot right here is below the F line. So that's going to help us find the F. And so the bass clef is usually played with the left hand. And again, if we were at church, that's the tenors and the basses. The basses are the really low, manly men. And the tenors are the higher pitched voiced men and those low ladies.
Okay.
All right. So that's what those clef signs are. You good with those?
Yes,
Excellent.
I got it now. It makes more sense.
All right, so we're going back to where we were. So we read these melodies yesterday. And so what you know now that we wished you would have known yesterday, but it's totally fine. You're gonna continue to learn and grow. What we wanted you to pick out yesterday was that it's in the treble clef, so our right hand's gonna play it. And they give us a right hand finger number above the staff of a thumb. And this is home note G clef G. So you're going to put your right hand thumb on G clef G, and you're going to step up. So if we're stepping up from thumb, that's going to mean a 2. We're going to play A with a 2. And if we're stepping up again, that means we're going to be playing a 3 on B.
Okay.
And if we're stepping back down, that means we're going to be playing a 2 on A.
Okay.
3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2, 2, 1. So we could have played that. So that's why I'm trying to yell at you guys all the time. Step up, step down, skip up, skip down. Because you got to be able to do it by sight instantly, in time. So you're right. You're right. We are in 4/4. There's 4 beats per measure. And the quarter note gets the beat. But here we have a half note, and it takes 2 counts. So it lasts for 2 beats. And then here we have a whole note, which lasts for 4 beats. Is it making more sense?
A little bit more sense now. Thank you.
All right. So over here on 1-25, let me move the screen up a little bit. 1-25, we have an example that's in
Clef F.
the F clef. Good. Also called the bass clef. And we know that that means our left hand is going to play. And you'll notice, Stacy, right beneath note number 1, they gave me a finger number for my left hand. I don't know that note, but I know right above it is F clef F. So F clef F, step down, I'm going to get an E, and that's where I'm going to put my left hand thumb.
Okay.
So here we have a skip. So we're going to skip down to finger number 3. Here we have another skip. We're going to skip down to our bottom space, home note A. And then we're going to step up. And we're going to step up. And then we're going to step down. Step up. Step up. Skip down. Step up. Skip up. And leap down to bottom space A where our 5 is. Pi, 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 pi. That's what we did yesterday, reading these on the staff. Then the next thing that we did was we put both hands on the grand staff. And all the grand staff is it's the bass clef and the treble clef joined together with a solid line there and this brace or bracket right here. And that just means both hands are going to be playing this piece. So we started out by playing this in our right hand, and then we ended up playing this in our left hand, and then we ended up playing this in our right hand, and then we ended up playing this in our left hand. So we were playing both hands in the same piece. Now, granted, we didn't play both hands at the same time. While one hand had notes, the other hand had rests. And vice versa. When the left hand had the notes, the right hand had rests. When the right hand had the notes, the left hand. So we didn't have notes going on in both hands at the same time yet. But that's coming. Is it making sense?
It's making more sense today than it did yesterday.
Excellent. That's what we want. All right. So that took us through all of Unit 1. And then this is another quiz that's going to come to you on Canvas. I'll put a due date on it. So in this quiz, it's just a review. Everything on page 27 and 28 we have covered or has been covered in our book up to this point, from pages 1 through 26. So part 1 is writing the names of our notes. So let's see. C is to the left of 2 black keys. So that's a C. Oh, for the love of Pete, will you give me my dadgum pencil? C is to the left of 2 black keys. F is to the left of 3 black keys. G and A are in between 3 black keys. E is to the right of 3 black keys. So you're just going to punch in the letter name on the Canvas quiz when you take this quiz.
The White Key song on iTunes so I can download.
It should be on iTunes, shouldn't it? Man, I gotta get my stuff together. I gotta get one of those distro kid accounts or something. Ronnie knows where it's at. He's got that going.
Is he referencing Discord?
No, DistroKid is a service that will put your music on.
Never heard of it.
All the platforms will put you on Spotify and Pandora and iTunes and all those places. All right, so that's number 1, just naming the notes where they fall on the keyboard. Number 2 is writing the notes where they fall on the staff. So that's G clef G, that's middle C. Okay, I don't know this one, but I know that my top space E is here. So if I have top space E there, step up, and I'm going to get F. So I'm just naming notes. Notice that number 2 is strictly in G clef or the treble clef. And then number 3 is in the bass clef to test all you that play one clef better than the other. There's my bottom space A, home note. Here's my F clef F home note. There's my middle C home note. So from there, I can step or skip to find out all my notes. So that's a review assignment that's coming on Canvas. If you want to hop on there and do it ahead, work ahead, more than welcome to do that. I don't think that I have any of them locked. I just haven't thrown due dates on them yet. Questions on page 27's homework.
It's only page 27.
No, it's a combo of 27 and 28. So I was going to hit 27 first. Any questions? If not, I'll go on to 28. 28 is just matchy-matchy. Okay, so I set this up on the quiz so you could put in the matches. So a quarter note. What is a quarter note? It's the note receiving 1 count. So I'm going to put number 1 in that blank. Half note. That's going to be the note receiving 2 counts. 2. Let's see. 2-4. What's 2-4? That's going to be 2 beats in a measure. Quarter note gets 1 beat. Let's see. What's this one? C. Common time.
Wait, does the... Oh, well, never mind.
You sure?
Okay, does the...
Your friend has a question. That way we won't know it's you. Okay, your friend has a question. What's your friend's question?
Yeah, does the length of like 1 count depend on the time signature?
Yes, it depends on the bottom number. So if the bottom number is 4, the quarter note gets the beat.
Okay, because I always forget that.
Yeah. If the bottom number is 8, the 8th note gets the beat. If the bottom number is 2, the half note gets the beat. If the bottom number is 1, the whole note gets the beat. Good question. Okay, so this is just matchy-matchy on all the terms that we've gone over in the book thus far. We doing all right with that?
Yep.
So we've made it through chapter 1 this week, which is right on par, on pace, where we're supposed to be. Next, we're going to start talking about a little bit what we talked about today. The distance between two notes is called intervals. So we talked about steps and skips on the staff. We're going to continue to talk about steps and skips, but we're also going to talk about leaps. And a leap is anything bigger than a skip. So remember, a line to a space is a step. A space to a line is a step. A line to a line is a skip. And a space to a space is a skip. Skips are also called thirds. Steps are also called seconds. So it can go line to space or space to line. As long as they're the next spacer's line, it's a second. A line to a line with a space in between is a third. A space to a space with a line in between is a third. So really, all you have to do is you have to just be able to count lines and spaces. So here's a line note. Here's a space. Here's a line. Here's a space. That's a fourth. Here's a line. Here's a space. Here's a line. Here's a space. Here's a line. That's a fifth. Okay, so we're just counting lines and spaces to determine how far apart those notes are. Seconds, thirds, fourths, or fifths. We all right with that? So this is where we're going to pick up next time. We'll eventually have another quiz assignment on Canvas. So I'll start putting due dates on those so you guys can start working on them. I know if they don't have a due date on them, you don't see them on your to-do list calendar, and you don't do them. So I'll put due dates on so they start showing up in your feed, okay? So that's pretty much as far as I want to go today. Another thing that I want to do next time is I want us to start learning our 5-finger patterns. We're going to keep working on the can that we started. We were reading on the grand staff. Again, we only had one hand playing at a time. Left hand, then the right hand, then the left hand. Here we went left, right, left. But again, it was only one hand playing at a time. So that's where we're at. We're going to start chapter 2 next week. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember who you were and what you stood for, and we'll see you on Monday.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dr. Beck.
Okay, have a good weekend, everyone.
Okay, you too.